Today I'm teaching on what is my worldview, and I'm going to tell you why you probably don't have one. I'm going to go into this teaching. You'll understand at the end of this how few people actually have a biblical worldview and the difference that it makes. This full teaching only goes to our subscribers, and at the end of the show, I answer questions from viewers and our subscribers. Like today, I'm answering the question, do all Christians go in the rapture, or do only some Christians go in the rapture? I'm Jimmy Evans. Welcome to the Tipping Point Show. Now, this teaching today is called, What is My Worldview? And is it biblical? Is it secular? Is it based on truth or deception? This is a huge issue because it determines how we live and prepare for eternity. Now, George Barna, who is a researcher, has done a massive survey on worldview and studying worldview. And it says here, I'm reading now from the research, a research study from Barna Group suggests that a large share of the nation's moral and spiritual challenges are directly attributable to the absence of a biblical worldview among Americans. Citing the findings from a just completed national survey of 2,033 adults that showed only 4% of adults have a biblical worldview as the basis of their decision making. The survey also discovered that only 9% of born-again Christians, now listen to that, only 9% of born-again Christians have such a perspective of life. The numbers were even lower among other religious classifications. Protestants were 7%, adults who attend mainline Protestant churches 2%, Catholics less than 0.5%. The denominations that produced the highest proportion of adults with a biblical worldview were non-denominational Protestant churches at 13%, Pentecostal churches at 10%, and Baptist churches at 8%. So you say, well, what constitutes a biblical worldview? Well, let me talk about that, because when Barna was researching this, he specifically gave some very clear guidance on what people believed, which was a basic biblical worldview, and whether they believed these things or didn't believe these things. For the purpose of the research, a biblical worldview was defined as believing that absolute moral truths exist, that such truth is defined by the Bible, and firm belief in 6 specific religious views. Now, this is going to come up on the screen here. So he's saying you have to believe that absolute moral truth exists. Now, this is very important because I'm going to talk about this more in just a minute. And the Bible defines that truth. Okay, so you have to begin with that. There is absolute truth. The Bible defines it. And here were the 6 different measures of how Barna measured whether people had a biblical worldview or not. Number 1, Jesus Christ lived a sinless life. That's what the Bible teaches. Number 2, God is the all-powerful and all-knowing creator of the universe, and He still rules it today. Number 3, salvation is a gift from God and cannot be earned. Number 4, Satan is real. Now, most Christians don't believe that Satan is real. Number 5, a Christian has responsibility to share their faith in Christ with other people. And number 6, the Bible is accurate in all of its teachings. I'm so excited to announce that my latest book, End Times Answers, 100 Real Questions from Real People, is now available for pre-order. Driven by the amazing conversations we've had on Tipping Point Podcast over the past 2 years, your curiosity and thirst for understanding encouraged me to put this book together in hopes that you find the answers you seek regarding end-time prophecy. As we await the return of Jesus, I've been asked a lot of questions about the end times. How significant are current events? How can people know they're truly saved? Will our loved ones be by our side in eternity? Inside my new book, I've handpicked 100 of the most frequently asked questions that you and countless others have asked. It's my desire that everyone have the answers that they seek. Whether you've been steeped in Bible prophecy for years or you're just beginning your journey, this book is your companion. It's designed to empower you and light your path through the uncharted realms of end times. End Times Answers, 100 Real Questions from Real People. You can pre-order your copy on Amazon.com today and be the first to receive it when it releases on September 12th. When you see all the things that are happening in America today, and I know that many of you are watching all over the world, and in your country you can measure this, also. But in America today, only 4%, only 4 of 100 people that are out doing what they're doing believe the things that I just got through saying. Only 9% of born-again Christians believe those things. And that's why we have so much trouble in the church today with so much liberal theology in the church today is because, most born-again Christians don't even believe that. And so your worldview is what drives your behavior, your morals, your values, your political beliefs, etc. And so when you see the madness and immorality of the world today, like in the days of Noah and Lot, violence, anger, rebellion, immorality, it all flows out of how people view the world and those around them. It's like a pair of glasses. When you have a biblical worldview, everything you see from what the Bible has to say and those things. When you don't have a biblical worldview, you're seeing the world in a very different way. So we see people doing crazy kind of stuff in the world today. It's not crazy to them. In fact, we're crazy to them. And so when you look at the alternatives to a Christian worldview, what are the alternatives? Now, there are many alternatives. I'm just going to talk about several of them today. The first is postmodernism. Now, this is the world that we're living in today. According to Barna's research, this is one of the most prevalent worldviews today, especially among younger people. Younger people are being bombarded with postmodern thought. And here is a definition of postmodernism. This is going to come up on the screen there. Postmodernism is an intellectual stance or mode of discourse which challenges worldviews associated with Enlightenment rationality dating back to the 17th century. Postmodernism is associated with relativism and a focus on the role of ideology in the maintenance of economic and political power. Postmodernists are skeptical of explanations which claim to be valid for all groups, cultures, traditions, or races, and instead focuses on the relative truths of each person. It considers reality to be a mental construct. Postmodernism rejects the possibility of unmediated reality or objectively rational knowledge, asserting that all interpretations are contingent on the perspective from which they are made, claims to be objective fact, are dismissed as naive realism. So this is the world that we're living in today. So it rejects objective reality. It rejects, it's cynical to anything. If you say, I have the truth, they say that's just a social construct. Well, we look at transsexualism today. So the craziness of transsexualism, you can't change your sex. I'm just telling you, you can't. You can cut yourself up all you want to. You can go through all that. You can take all the drugs that you want to. You're still who God made you to be. And the horrible thing is, many people today who are going through sex change surgeries are regretting it. There's a website called sexchangeregret.com. Go on there and look at it, and you'll see all the people that are now saying, I made a mistake. I thought this. Well, so here's what the proponents of transsexualism are saying. Gender is a social construct. And there's a guy that, I don't know if you saw this, but there's a guy that has spent a ton of money turning himself into a collie. And there are young people, going to school as cats and dogs and things like that. Well, some people say you can change your sex. Well, can you change your species? No, you can't. It's stupid. It's just really a stupid thing to even think about. Not to them. To a person who's postmodern, they say, something? You keep telling us that, the Bible's true and you have objective reality. There is no objective reality. It is what we say it is. An individual can create their own reality. You say, well, is that a new teaching? No, that's Hinduism. Hope you enjoyed this teaching. Listen for the full teaching and the Q&A. Go to endtimes.com. Become a subscriber, $7 a month, $77 a year. We would love to have you join our community. God bless you. Thank you for joining me today.